So good evening, late good evening
Of course.
actually.
Likewise, likewise. How
Yeah,
are you?
so
All
here
good?
good. Yeah, here India. Good morning actually.
Oh yeah.
Early good morning. Yeah. So yeah, so uh, so what is the requirement and what is your expectation from this training? So can you just set that and we'll give some brief introduction.
Of
We'll
course.
take yours and mine. Right? Let's over to you.
Of course. Yeah. So simply, names of Sam. I work for a bank here in Los Angeles, based out of California. I work as a systems engineer. I work a lot in Azure. I work a lot in cybersecurity. Uh, it's a mixture of quite a lot of other things, virtualization, VMware, and all that stuff. So my main reason for having GCP training is not because I work in GCP at all. Neither do I have any exposure. But there's two different things. One, I want to get into GCP, give my cloud practitioner architect certification. It's not required, but I realized that giving certifications actually gets you into a new technology faster. I'm not a big fan of certifications, but I only do it when I think I need to master a new technology. Other than that, most importantly, why I need this to be a little more urgent is I have an interview with Google lined up. But then again, I can't blame anyone, but the interview is in 18 days from now. And it is specifically for a Google Cloud engineer, a strategy
Hmm.
engineer. They
Hmm.
picked me up based on my Azure experience, my cybersecurity experience, my business continuity experience, and whatever I've done in systems engineering. But I'm assuming for a Google interview, they'll expect a lot more than that. They'll require a
Hmm.
lot of coding. They'll require a lot of Python, GCP knowledge, Kubernetes, all of that stuff. I have no exposure to anything Google,
Hmm.
practically and professionally. I worked with Cisco before. I worked at Cisco. I was a Cisco employee between 2011 and 2014. That's pretty much it. So I'm right in the middle of a big confusion because the interview was scheduled. I didn't want to say no. I tried to reschedule it, but they were the person that I know at Google said this is an open position and will be filled in soon. So give it a shot. If it works out, good. If it doesn't, then it's fine. So that's when I realized I'm like, if I want to attempt it, why not do something for it?
Sure.
That's
Got it.
pretty much about it. Yep.
Okay. Got it. Got it. Your requirement. So my name is Ratnesh, and I have a company, Global Online Training, and we do have cloud support as well. So we provide the trainings, the cloud, the architecture or the cloud migration, implementation, hybrid cloud, not only Google, that
Mhm.
includes Azure and AWS. So I'm having 14 years plus experience in IT and surrounding technologies like IT infrastructure. You talk about hybrid cloud, CI/CD pipeline, so
Hmm.
infrastructure as a code, Terraform. So a long list actually. So
Got it.
and also underline your baseline technology. You talk about infrastructure technologies like VMware, Citrix, the Windows, Active Directory, and lot many actually, right?
Hmm.
HCI and many. So having said so Google Cloud is like my core, you can say my core expertise for now, because in current projects I'm working on the Google Cloud projects as a Google Cloud architect, right? Providing solution not only specific to one component, it's comprised all the component irrespective of the technology. You talk about coordinating with the
Hmm.
developer team and following the DevOps model completely by using CI/CD pipeline. So you can say Google Cloud DevOps engineer, or Google Cloud architect, right? Or Google Cloud associate engineer kind of things is available within the Google Cloud, right?
Got it.
So,
Got it.
uh, as you already have hands-on experience on Azure, that makes sense. You will be easily going to grab this Google Cloud as well and surrounding technologies, because all the clouds are similar. They are they are
Yeah,
matching, but there are the different terminology differences there. That's it,
exactly.
right? And some USPs are there, and some merits, demerits, cost-wise comparison, and also the benefit, security prospect, and your background is from security as well. That is going to help you to you understand this Google Cloud architecture and how secure it is for the end client as a public cloud. Make sense?
Got it. Yep.
Okay, so
It works.
let me give you some uh, kind of this intro kind of on Google Cloud. And before
Mhm.
starting Google Cloud, I want to give you some brief this cloud evolution and everything to make you understand the technology wise, because in Google Cloud or any cloud, you have to be strong on all the components, right? Make
Mm.
sense? Let me quickly
Yep.
share my screen, and I will share my whiteboard quickly. So when we talk about Google Cloud or any cloud actually, so what happened? So we have uh, the first requirement is like IAM, right? That's common. Same for Azure,
Yep.
right? Active Directory,
Yep.
right?
Mhm.
So IAM is the first, and you can call it as RBAC as well. Okay.
Mhm.
And that's the first requirement. And when you're moving further, you need compute engine,
Yep.
right? So in compute engine, you have your VMs, your containers, and the surroundings, the resources, how much vCPU, VRAM, and your disk associated is required for your VDIs, your servers, or your other, the devices or hosted services kind of thing, right?
Got it.
So
Yep.
compute is a very important. And coming to next engine in Google Cloud especially, right? That's
Storage.
storage.
Got it.
And when storage engine, when we're talking about storage engine, that includes your structured data and your non-structured data both, right? You
Got
start
it.
from
Yep.
your storage like file system, your blob storage, same as in Azure also, right? Your
Yeah.
BSD, BSDX, all those sort of things, containers, all those things will buckets, right? So we'll use in Google Cloud bucket as a name. But in if you
Got it.
compare in Azure, there is a container, right? So
Yes.
storage engine is there. That includes in storage cloud database as well. SQL
Mm.
databases and no SQL data both. So
Most people.
it's
Yep.
part of storage only. Okay.
Got it. So
Coming
when we
to next.
compare
Mhm,
block storage versus regular storage, where is
mhm.
that division? Where is that division?
So like when we talk about the storage like blob and normal storage like file system and other things, right? So as you
Mm.
know, when we talk about blob, so blob is especially for multimedia files. Getting my point?
Got it.
Audio, video, JPG, the pictures, MPG, the video files. So the multimedia files is more, considered about those blob storage actually, if you talk about.
Got it.
When we talk
Mm.
about file storage or file system, like our PDF files, our Word document, our like PPT presentations, and Excel documents like official documents, right? So in the same storage, in the same file type of storage, you are going to put all the unstructured data, means the .pdf, .xls, .notepad, those kind of file extensions. So that is
Got it.
unstructured data. But when we're talking
What
about the
what is
blob
structured?
storage,
Uh-huh. Uh-huh. What is
structured is,
structured
yeah,
then? Mhm.
structured is like your database, your
I
relational
see.
database,
Okay.
SQL
Got
database, and NoSQL database, like
got
MongoDB, NoSQL, right? And you have
awesome.
many databases, and you are going to find here in Google Cloud as well as a new databases, which is not available in your, but functionality is same as in Azure or in
Mhm.
AWS. But there is a
Understood.
branding, there's a sale prospect, okay? The name should be
Mm.
different from each other, else
Of course.
it is going to impact your sales. Getting my point?
Mm. Yeah.
Any other
Yeah.
questions, sir?
100%. No, no, no. I'm just gonna bother you because I'm trying to
Yes,
understand the
I'm
flow
loving
of how
it.
you do
I'm
it better.
loving it. Yeah,
Awesome.
I'm loving it.
Perfect. Thank you.
Yeah. So next is networking. So this is like overview kind of thing. Okay, I'm not going to deep because within 30 minutes or 45 minutes, really it
Yeah.
is not
Yeah.
possible, right?
Mm.
And next is like networking engine, right? So when we talk about networking engine, we started from the IAM, like Active Directory in our Azure reference, right? Azure Active Directory. So that is required for all your AAA, right? Authorization, your authentication, and audit, right? And you are going to define your role-based access control from IAM, right? From Azure Active
Mm-hmm.
Directory in
Mm-hmm.
case of
Mm-hmm.
Azure Cloud. But in Google Cloud, we are going to use identity and access management. Naming differences, and
Identity and access.
mostly
Okay.
you must heard about Okta solutions, right?
Yep. Yep. Single sign-on solution.
Yeah. So right. So like ADFS, single sign-on, multi-factor authentications, all those functionality also available with Okta. And Google is promoting Okta solutions. Okay.
Oh, really? I see.
And
Okay.
yeah, right. So I am one, and I'm just going to revise all those just to recall, right? The compute engine.
Mm-hmm.
In the compute engine, like there we call as like VMs, right? Here we also call
Mm-hmm.
like VM only, no changes. In AWS,
Got
we
it.
call it like EC2 and other things, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
virtual
Mm-hmm.
machine is the same in Google also. It is going to match you, this echo from Azure, right?
Awesome.
In a
Awesome.
storage, we talk about a structured, non-structured. So all those things we are going to cover, like how we are going to define our storage, within the Google Cloud, creating the bucket. Within the bucket, we are going to create, upload the files, folders as per our requirement, right?
Hmm.
And the databases like SQL database, we are going to use Microsoft SQL or NoSQL, like many databases functionalities available within the Google Cloud that we are going to use, and we are going to understand which storage is applicable for which use case. That is the
Hmm.
important thing as a Google Cloud architect. Getting my
Got it.
point? That is
Yep.
expected from a Google Cloud associate engineer or a Google Cloud architect, right?
Awesome. Yep.
Next is networking. So when coming to the networking, like cloud networking is little bit different from the traditional networking, right? You must be knowing that underline networking and overlay networking, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So all
I've
the
heard.
clouds.
I've heard. I don't
Yeah,
know.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that is networking is like a backbone of any technologies, right?
Yep.
But if when you talk about traditional networking, like data center networking, or you're going to talk about your LAN, WAN, all those things, in Google Cloud or in any cloud, things got changed because they're using overlay networking. Underlying networking will be managed by CSP, cloud service
Got
provider
it.
like Google Cloud, right? So we are going to define here like we call it as like BPC. Okay, so
Uh-huh.
virtual private cloud, same as in AWS, but in Azure we
Yep.
use VNet, virtual network, right?
VNet.
It's
Yep.
the same
You're right.
concept, but different name. That makes sense, right? So
Yes.
within the VPC, you are going to create subnets, and within the subnets, you are going to define your, security groups, or like same in Azure, you have NSG,
Mm.
right?
Yep.
Network security
100%.
groups. So
Group.
all those networking in Google Cloud, we are going to cover, and we are going to prepare ourselves for our target, interview. Actually,
Mm.
right?
Yep.
So in networking, many things will be there like load balancing, and also we are going to cover CDN. You heard about the CDN?
Yep. Yep. Content delivery.
Content, yeah, content delivery network. Same like we are using OTT platform nowadays, right? You think of just think of like Amazon Prime or Netflix,
Yes.
right?
Yep.
So
Yep. Yep.
Amazon, Netflix, or Amazon Prime is using AWS cloud, and other players are using Google. Someone is using Azure, and they are using the
What is the
capabilities
product's
of.
name? What is Google's CDN's name? Like CloudFront for Amazon?
So
Is
here
there a
it
name?
is called like not any specific different name. It's a like Google Cloud CDN, client delivery
Oh,
network.
okay. Just that. Okay, that's good.
Yeah,
Got it.
not a specific any name actually. Yeah. So
Good.
like as a CloudFront is there, and in Azure
Yeah.
is also it's a CDN kind of, right? So
Mm.
same thing,
Yep.
Google Cloud is also using. Okay, and it will depend on the availability zones, or the data centers, and the reasons where those services or networking is available.
Mm.
Clear?
Understood?
And also Google Cloud has association with the different ISPs, internet service provider, to make their CDN technology successful. Okay.
Mm.
So
Mm-hmm.
after networking, we are going to cover, yeah, our database. We already covered, like in storage, that was included, like firewall, firewall and
Yep.
security within the Azure cloud, like Armor and all those things we are going to cover. So it will depend how the environment is. It is only Google Cloud, only Google Cloud is a public cloud, single cloud, or it's a hybrid. When I call
Mm.
hybrid, that means some on-premise environment is
On
already there,
premises.
a
Yep.
data center, and you have your Google Cloud. Then you have to think of how you're going to provide security, right? So security
Yep.
itself, like all the incoming, outgoing, and with proper port, because you're from security, so you should be knowing
Mm.
that there should be something, some firewall on-premise as well, and that should be
Yep.
in sync with your Google Cloud firewall, or the security aspect, right? So
100%.
coming to endpoint security, coming to your devices, like your servers, your compute security, you have to secure your storage as well, like data in transit, data in rest, right? So
Mm.
you must be
Yep.
knowing that the concept
All of that.
data in
Yeah.
transit,
Yeah.
data in rest, right? And
Yep.
also
Yeah.
in networking, the firewall and the security, what Google is going to use as a micro segmentation. So the
Mm.
term we call as a micro segmentation. What's the meaning of that? If you are knowing that, you want me to explain it. What is micro
No, no, go
segmentation?
ahead. Go ahead.
What is micro segmentation? Just a question, actually.
Oh, microsegmentation. Basically, you're dividing the kinds of traffic into different
Mm-hmm,
segments, just like how you do VLANs in traditional networking. Similar to
mm-hmm,
that, you're creating separate groups
mm-hmm.
of similar kinds of traffic.
Right, and providing security at each layer, and
Mm.
for each devices, actually device layer security, actually that is not
Mm.
possible in on-premise data center due to
Got it.
feasibilities of those. So microsegmentation is very much possible in virtualization world completely, and also in Google Cloud. Make sense?
Got it. In a hybrid environment, how do you set up microsegmentation? Like very briefly.
So in hybrid environment, like on-premise is really not feasible for this microsegmentation. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
microsegmentation you can enable, you can achieve only in cloud specific players, like in Google Cloud, in Azure, in AWS. But if you
And
want to achieve,
segmentation is for traffic, the kind of traffic. Is that correct?
yes, kind of traffic and secure, like take example of Azure Cloud, right? You have NSGs, right? You have
Mm-hmm.
VNet, and you have
Mm-hmm.
subnetting, and you are using your VMs with IP address. So what is happening? Anything is incoming, anything is outgoing, that is going to pass through your subnet, your NSG, and then going to the external world, or your within the internal. So what is happening? It is providing security at your VM layer, right? At your VM, right? And then
Uh-huh.
it's going to your subnet layer, security as your subnet layer as well. And then NSG is deciding this, we have to allow or we have to deny. That means
Got it.
that kind of, so security like at each layer was already there, but what
Mm.
microsegmentation did, it is it is providing security at device layer as well. Like everyone, all the devices, all the functions, applications are secured enough, right?
Mm.
So that is like securing your complete infrastructure, but in on-premise that is really not possible.
Got it.
Yeah. Okay, makes sense due
Awesome.
to traditional hardware, you can say, and the infrastructure. But yes, in Google Cloud also we are following the OSI model, we are following the TCP IP model. But yes, the
Got it.
micro segmentation is really not possible in on-premise data center till now. Okay.
Awesome.
So next, like networking, we have firewall and security. We are going to cover, because a lot of things are there actually when we are going to
Yeah.
detail of our security, firewall, endpoint security, device security, load balancing, traffic
Mm.
control, all those things, blah blah. Right.
Yep.
Next, we can discuss uh, in compute also. I missed the container. K8S will be part of this, right?
I see.
And
Awesome. Yep.
yeah, so I didn't explain very much, but Kubernetes is
That's fine.
product of Google only, right? So
Yeah.
that
Yep.
will be covered very much. Okay.
Got it. So
And
does Docker come inside it? Docker?
Yeah, right. Docker. Yeah, we are going to
Because
use Docker.
I'm understanding the fact that when Google likes to interview people, they try to
Hmm.
give a lot of emphasis on Kubernetes. Like they just
Yes.
like asking
Hmm.
questions, talking about
Yeah.
containerizing, and uh, the use of Cloud App Engine, the past uh,
Hmm.
model. So
Right.
that's why I mentioned GCP and Kubernetes, because
Yeah,
although
yeah,
the
yeah.
interview is in
Yeah.
less than
But
15, 20
like
days,
many questions will be on Kubernetes, but yes, you should have understanding other components surrounding,
yeah, yeah,
engines, because
100%,
you
100%,
will not able to relate those things actually. Getting my
yeah,
point?
yeah, yep,
Yeah. So the firewall and security, and let's get started this monitoring part actually. Okay. The
I see.
monitoring, right? Monitoring, and provided you are following complete CI/CD pipeline tools as a DevOps model, right? Without that, it is not going to complete.